victim. And unfortunately, Teresa and her camp have tried to flip the script on her.
What's like the most egregious, like when they asked you, and like who was it? Like, were your, I mean, did you get mostly text calls? Like, how often was this? Like, how often? And was it just Teresa? So to her lawyer, Jim Leonard, like we just for
Teresa,
everyone.
Teresa and I were texting every day. We were calling each other, talking to each other. I mean, there was times where we would go without talking like a day or so, but we were constantly on the phone talking. We talked about absolutely everything from sex to the show. Like we talked about it all. There was nothing off limits. There was some things that came through text, but most of like the deep stuff was over the phone. And she would call me, she'd be like, hold on, let me get Jim on. And she would get him. So, especially in regards to Vanessa and the trial, a lot of that was over the phone. Some of it I haven't even released Louie's texts. I do have some stuff on Louie in regards to text messages, but most of it was on the phone. Like I remember in the beginning, like if we fast forward to the beginning of 2023, when they hired, well, to me, they told me they hired a new PR lady to help smear Margaret and to clean up Louie's image. But now that I know the whole story, they never hired her. So Louie offered her to be Teresa's like main PR lady. We're going to bring you on and you're going to help us smear Margaret and you got to clear up Louie's image. And then we'll go from there. And if we like you, we're going to like get you full time. But according to Louie, he had hired her. But I know now he didn't. Anyway,
And
so
that's
her name
not
was
Carrie Ann, right? Like that's
no,
Carrie
this
Ann.
is
That's
another
she.
lady,
Okay.
Elisa, and her last name starts with a B. I
Okay.
won't give her whole name, but
Okay.
Elisa was brought on, and I remember from the get go, Elisa was. I remember Teresa called me, and she's like, "Hey, you're going to give Elisa a statement in regards to that video of Margaret insulting the disabled community where she says the R word, and you have a daughter with special needs, so Louie and I need you." Please, honey, just tell her like how upsetting it is that she insulted you, the community, and we're gonna have Reality Blurb put that out there. And I have this in text message, this part right here, where I was like, "Hey Teresa, I talked to Elisa, I gave her my statement for Reality Blurb. Well, some shit ended up going down with them and Elisa, and that statement never got released. But I have that in text with Teresa. I remember when they called me, there was a premiere of season 13 and this video of Margaret saying the R word was supposed to be posted, and I was supposed to go on the Macbeth Collection website and literally list all of the people who carry her items and tag all of those people in that video for Louie because he said, listen, and he called her a pig. He said, if we're going to come for this pig, we got to hit her where it hurts. We're going to come for that fucking business. So I was like, okay. And he's like, we're going to post that video and you're going to say shame on Walmart and you're going to tag Walmart. Bed Bath and Beyond carried it as well. Like Kohl's carried it. Like you got to tag everybody. And then we're going to slip into their DMs and be like, shame on you, Walmart. You're carrying products from a woman who insulted the disabled community. I have a disabled child. I don't want to shop at Walmart. You guys are gross, blah, blah, blah. And so I posted all of this. And so they were trying to make me like the Margaret video ambassador, where Elisa was going to get my statement and give it to people in the press, which they mainly work with The Sun and Reality Blurb, and they were going to stick it. And that was going to be part of the Margaret Joseph smear campaign. So, and that never came to fruition because Elisa was let go and there was problems behind the scenes. But that the really bad stuff, it was always over the phone. And
Right.
some of it was in text messages. But I mean, I have, when I say plenty, David, like people are like, this is it. That's all she has a receipt. I probably tapped into like 4% of my receipts.
Because, look, if Margaret had a deal, you could prove that she lost the deal because of all this, then that is like tortious interference of business, intentional infliction of emotional distress. It's a lot of things. Proving it is a whole nother thing. And did she really lose the deal because of that? And did she have a deal? I don't know. But that's a lot of, I mean, so is that, so it was Vanessa's how it started, and then what? It became Margaret, just what? Because she was trying to take down Louie. Like, why Margaret? Like, why not?
Because
Like,
she
why
was the
was
most,
Margaret the next threat?
because she was most vocal about Louie on the show. And again, like I know people come for Teresa and they insult her every which way to Sunday, but their biggest concern, her biggest concern is when people come for Louie. And I remember one time I questioned her. I was like, But what does it matter? You guys are married now. Like, who cares what people fucking say? Like, you're the queen of Jersey. Fuck them. They're just
That's what
haters.
I say. That's what I
But guess
ask.
what? It's true. Everything they're saying about Louie is true. And they don't want that out. I don't want to mention her by name, but there was a recent reunion. I have the
Hmm.
receipts. I have receipts to show that they wanted to silence this person because she was another one who was out there all over the damn place talking about how this guy was a fucking sex fiend, talking about how he was doing all this shit to the ex. They wanted her silenced and they got it because she no longer, I mean, they say she changed her mind, but I don't think that's a coincidence because I was on the inside. We knew we wanted her silence and she won't say nothing negative about them anymore. So they got what they wanted.
This
I
is
mean,
why
any
people know better than to contact me because like it's not possible. Like I am
no,
not.
and how liberating does it feel, David, that you can say fucking whatever you want about like no one holds anything over you. You are not grounded by nobody. You owe no one nothing. How free is that? How good does that feel?
It's very freeing. In addition to doing my podcast consulting, I do life coaching on the weekends. That's one of my biggest things I tell people is like, well, first of all, I think here's the thing. When someone has something over you or you're on the take, it is so short-sighted. Like to me, this really is a business. And so we will never be on the take because that is not a 5 to 10 year plan that is sustainable. It just isn't. It's like you're taking your entire business and handing it over to someone else. And that could be decimated within one false move. It's not, you're right, it's liberating. It's got to be exhausting for all these podcasts on the take that are like, we better not upset the hand that feeds us because we'll be down in the toilet tomorrow. This business here, we do New Jersey, we're doing it today. Tomorrow, I got something to say about Erica, Jane, and Kyle, I'm sure. And 3 days later, I got something to say with Giselle Bryant. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
it is very freeing. Yes,
Yeah.
someone like Jim Leonard knows, like you could, because I've said horrible things about Teresa and Louie. You just know that you can't, and I know a lot of things too. I mean, not as much as you, but like they just know, like it just. I take it as a compliment. You know, you can't call me because I am the flip flopper. I will observe what is happening that week and it could change tomorrow. That's called taking all the facts in. I will never be on the take. So when I
Yeah.
speak, you know that this is an unbiased podcast, like that it's
Yeah.
just observing the facts
I
each week.
remember I remember one time Jim Leonard had me DM you and the other lady on Instagram DM. And I remember I was sending you guys Vanessa's ex like court paperwork or whatever. Like she went through some stuff with an ex and there was some court papers that were released thanks to Jim Leonard. And I remember Jim was like, send this to her, send this to him, get this in their hands. Like he wanted to see if you were going to take the bait and talk about it because they wanted many people talking about it. And I remember you just disregarded it. And I mean, maybe you knew it was going to be harmful towards Vanessa, but I mean, that's the kind of people they are. Like, are we really surprised right now that they wanted me to talk to John Fuda's baby's mama, who's been out of his life for over a decade, so that they can talk shit about him on TV? I mean, they wanted people like you through me to talk about Louie's ex's ex and their history just to harm the woman. Like, it's insane.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't even remember that in particular, but I'm sure. I mean, I get sent, I cannot